Russia has activated a nuclear weapon and the deep state's ultimate plan for Donald Trump. We're going to cover that today. Hello, everybody. Trailer Trash Tim. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for being here on an overcast Saturday morning here deep in Alabama. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And we got a lot to cover today. Before I go any further, I got to give another quick shout out real quickly to Sam's Butcher Shop. I talked about this yesterday. I'm not going to dwell on it. I just want to let you know, last night I had some of Sam's boneless ribs and they were absolutely fantastic. Just delicious. As I encouraged you yesterday, if you eat meat and you want the best meat you've ever eaten, I'm not paid to say this. This is not a paid endorsement. I'm just one guy to you guys and gals. If I find something I like, I'm going to tell you about it. And I'm telling you, samsbutchershop.com. Go there and look around. If you place an order with Sam, he'll take care of you and you will enjoy the best meat you have ever tasted. I promise you, you will love it. All right, now, there's a lot going on, a lot of really sobering things going on in the news. And we learned yesterday, this was reported in the Associated Press. It was also reported in the Independent, in the UK Daily Mail, Interfax, and Russia actually released this. Russia has activated its most powerful nuclear weapon, the Sarmat missile. What is the Sarmat missile? The Sarmat missile is nicknamed the Satan II missile. It stands 115 feet tall and it is nearly unstoppable. It travels at nearly 16,000 miles per hour. It has a range of 11,000 miles and can carry 15 warheads. It drops multiple nuclear bombs in a single launch, the Sarmat missiles. The nukes that this missile carries are 1,000 times more powerful than the bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is what Putin said yesterday, or not yesterday, but recently. Well, it could have been yesterday, I'm not sure. Quote, "This truly unique weapon will strengthen the combat readiness of our armed forces, reliably ensure Russia's security in the face of external threats, and will provide food for thought to those who, in the heat of frenzied aggressive rhetoric, try to threaten our country." Just for frame of reference, Moscow is 867 kilometers from Kiev. It is also 7,500 kilometers or 4,680 nautical miles from New York City. I want to interject something very quickly. This is important. I want you all to understand that I am not a Putin fanboy and I'm not a Russia fanboy, okay? I am an American. I bleed red, white, and blue. I was born in the United States. I will die in the United States. This is my country, and I love my country, and I consider myself a patriot. A patriot is a person who will defend his country and defend his loved ones. That's me, okay? I do not love the regime and the deep state and the establishment and the oligarchs who are financing politicians who run our country. I don't love that. I'm not patriotic toward that, okay? Now, Tucker Carlson was asked about this in a couple of recent interviews. He says basically he's indifferent toward Russia. He doesn't love Russia. He doesn't hate Russia. He doesn't love Putin. He doesn't hate Putin. He is indifferent toward them. And that is largely how I feel, although I will be honest and tell you, I worship at church with Russian people. They're dear people, wonderful people. I know there's bad people in Russia, just like there are in the United States. There's good people in both countries as well. The point I was trying to make yesterday is that for us to pursue a policy of aggression toward Moscow is utter insanity. That's the point I'm trying to make, okay? I'm not waving the Russian flag here, but I don't hate them. And that was the point of my video yesterday, the visceral hatred that our leaders hold toward Russia and toward Putin makes no sense in whatsoever, none. To pursue a policy of peace toward Russia is the most sensible approach. And that is what Trump was doing. And that, to me, was the great appeal of Donald Trump, is Trump was trying not to get us into war with Russia or anybody else for that matter. And that alone made Trump worth the price of admission, right? A little coffee, pardon me. Oh, nothing like coffee. I love it. So we're in perilous times, my friends. When you start talking about nukes, it gets a little hairy. Like I was saying yesterday, we have not faced times like this in quite a period of time. We had the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, and we had the subsequent Cold War, which lasted until 1991. But we haven't had to really dwell on the prospect of a hot nuclear war with Russia or anybody else in quite some time, until this lousy bunch got to Washington and started banging the drums of war. They just live for it because they are insane. And there are people in this government who actually want war with Russia, if you can believe it. In no circumstances that makes sense, because in a nuclear war, nobody wins. Millions of people die. It makes no sense to pursue a policy like this. Yet there are people in our government who absolutely want that. They salivate over the prospect of nuclear war with Russia. And it's absolutely insane. I want to move on to something else real quickly. What is happening in terms of the deep state and its approach toward Donald Trump? As you know, Trump is running for re-election. And as I have said, I disagree with Trump on a lot of issues, particularly fiscal issues, okay? A lot of things that he has done that I do not agree with, but we're kind of beyond other mainstream or peripheral issues right now. When you're talking about the threat of imminent nuclear war, that sort of transcends every other issue. It sort of transcends fiscal issues. It sort of transcends any other issues you can think of, because if we have a nuclear exchange with Russia, everything else is moot, right? And Trump was the only candidate I can think of who does not want that, who was pursuing a policy of peace with our potential enemies. The deep state wants war with Russia. And I'm talking about specifically in the figurehead department of people like Pompeo, who dropped out of, thankfully, the race for president, John Bolton, and little Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina, who's running for president, who has some momentum behind her. She's a neocon. She salivates over things like this. And these people all, back during the Trump administration, they wanted war with Iran, okay? And Trump stopped it. Trump said, no, that's ridiculous. We don't need to start a war with Iran. And he was right about this. David Poteritz, a blast from the past, he was an advisor to the late old man John McCain, another neocon extraordinaire who hated Russia with every fiber of his worthless being. And Poteritz said this: every day, this is a quote, every day I get up and pray we go to war with Iran. Can you believe that? Is that insanity or not? This is the mentality of the people who are ruling this country right now. And they will do anything, as I said yesterday, anything to stop Donald Trump from getting back in office once again. I want to remind you that we have an agency in this nation, started by Truman, unfortunately, called the CIA. Do you realize the CIA, by definition, is supposed to answer to the president only? But it is apparent now that the CIA has zero oversight. We know that the deep state took out a president in 1963. They just took him out. No one was ever held accountable for this. The deep state covered their tracks. The CIA had no oversight there. And here's what's happening now in regard to Trump. The CIA does not want Trump. The deep state does not want Trump. The establishment does not want Trump. and they'll do anything to keep him out of office. Here's what they've already done. They've impeached him twice. They have indicted him now 4 times. And by the way, on this Atlanta, on one of these indictments, I forget which one it is, the judge has set a date for trial of March the 24th, which is one day before Super Tuesday of next year, of 2024. You think they haven't been weaponized against Donald Trump? They have an ultimate plan for Trump, I would contend, and I have to be careful what I say on YouTube. But believe me, if they can't take him out with impeachment, if they can't take him out with indictments, that's on the table. You mark my words. This is not above these people. They've done it before. Why is it hard to believe that they wouldn't do it again? This is serious stuff, folks. Colonel Douglas McGregor, I love Colonel McGregor. He's a rational man, a military man, and he says, I don't think we will make it to 24. He believes that we will implode before then with bank failures and violence in our streets. Tucker Carlson said we are speeding toward an attack on Trump's life. Tucker said that, okay? Tucker's a rational, reasonable guy, and he believes that. So this is where we are. We're in perilous times. This is what the deep state thinks of you. I want to quote Charles Lipson, who wrote in The Spectator, "It's hard not to weep for the Republic as trust in our institutions collapses. Put simply, our national governance is in shambles and the public knows it." That's me and you. They know too that problems so beyond partisan politics and specific leaders to include their enablers, the media and core institutions of law enforcement. What they don't know is how to restore some semblance of integrity to a political system that makes it very hard to block the hold on the nomination of a sitting president like Joe Biden or the nomination of another candidate like Trump, who is backed by a committed minority of committed activists. I don't know how much of a minority we are. Michael Anton wrote, "They can't and they won't, if they can help it at all, allow Trump to be president again. In fact, they made this clear in 2020. If they felt that strongly back then, imagine how they feel now." But you don't have to imagine. They tell you every day. They say that the 45th president is literally the greatest threat facing America today. Greater than China, greater than our crashing economy, greater than our unraveling civil society. The liberal Glenn Greenwald said the relevant metric now isn't left versus right, it's anti-establishment versus pro-establishment. And Anton continues, the regime cannot allow Trump to be president, not because, listen carefully, not because of who he is, but because of who his followers are. Complaints about Trump are just proxies for objections to the nature of his base. In other words, this is where we are. It is the deep state and the establishment against people like me and you. Whether you're an American watching me or not, you may be in France, you may be in Western Europe, you may be in Russia. I'm telling you, the deep state, that the ruling elite class in America, which runs this country, Biden is just a puppet. Biden doesn't know what's going on. He can't tie his own shoes, okay? The man is suffering from advanced mental incapacity, dementia, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if he's going to be around much longer, but I'm telling you, it does not matter. He is not in control. The deep state that is pulling his strings is, and they are opposed to regular people like me and you, people that would vote for Trump simply because they want to stave off an insane nuclear exchange with Russia. This is where we are, folks, and it is time for us to wake up and make our voices heard. That's where we are on a Saturday morning, September 2nd, the year of our Lord, 2023. God help us all. Listen, if you would real quickly do me a favor, like this video down below, I would appreciate it very much. If you would subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, please go ahead and take a moment. Just hit the button, subscribe. I would really appreciate that as well. I'd like to hear your comments down below. Thank you for the flood of comments yesterday on the video. I love hearing from you all. I try and answer every comment if I can. Everybody, let me hear your voice. You have a voice. Make your voice heard. Let's all pray for our nation. We need it, folks. We need the mercy of the Lord to come and help us so we can stave off this potential deadly nuclear exchange. The nuke has been activated. Can you imagine Joe Biden in the Situation Room trying to wade his way through a potential nuclear attack? Can you imagine it? This has got to stop. We have got to stop this from happening somehow. Give me your comments down below, everybody. Go out there and have a tremendous Saturday. Thank you again so much for being here. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you tomorrow. Trailer Trash Tim. We'll see you then.